All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So, interesting day in the sector. All right, I'm gonna add two more to the list. We're gonna cover RGTI, like you see on the screen. QMCO and QSI are going to be the next chapter, and those are two new ones to the bucket. And then we'll look at QUBT, IONQ, and QBTS at the end, okay? I think the whole story for today's trading is volume. Okay, a lot of good things are still happening with the moving averages. Good things are still happening with the MACD, RSI. You know, I'll talk about all of that, right? But man, Rigetti was the second most traded stock of the day, pushing for a second time now over 200 million shares per day on single weeks, on complete single weeks, we've been substantially lower than that. There are bigger stocks and bigger names that will never, never, ever trade 235 million shares, maybe even in a month. You know what I mean? So, big volume here. These two new ones, QMCO, okay? I know it doesn't look like much, but that's an interesting 4 million right there. QSI, again, a big 28 million right there. I think these three started to take away from some of the volume that these ones would have gotten. I understand that's a big 24 million number, but not as good over the white line, over that 50-day line as I really want it to be, right? IONQ, again, actually a pretty good number as well, but it doesn't quite break it. Again, IONQ, I've been loving it. This thing's a little bit more of that like consistent, steady workhorse, and really, I love that. You know that, right? And then QBTS is the other one, right? This one was a little bit on the more interesting side. This one did bring the volume, actually substantially crushes the 50, beautiful, sustained, and not quite the candle I would have expected here, actually, you know? So this one is a little bit of an outlier, but again, to me, I think the whole story really is volume, like I said. But overall, I know I kind of flashed through them quickly. Everything is still looking nice, you know what I mean? So the last thing I'll say on this opening thought, I realize I just came here, but let's take a look at the indices real quick, okay? On the last couple tech videos, I was saying, look, as you look at the NASDAQ, it's been going above the 8, coming to the 8, going above, coming to, above, you know, this and that, right? It looked like there was another one of those coming. I was starting to guess that we would come into that 19.6 range. Lo and behold, we are here, right? I think it is critically important that we don't lose the 8. Look, we've seen it a number of times actually during this uptrend. If we lose the 8, we will come down to the 20. The 20 should be strong enough to hold, okay? I'm at least going to flash a little bit of a 19,260 number, give or take. I'm really hoping we never go below that 19.6 that I initially mentioned, and like I said, we're on the higher side of it, right? When we look at the other ones, S&P 500 is a little lower than the 8 that I'd like, I will say that, and then Dow Jones is actually a little bit worse than the S&P, right? So NASDAQ still looks the best, and obviously the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 stocks we're talking about are very heavy tech. So I think NASDAQ being the best is a good thing for our little sector here. That said, indices tend to follow, and maybe NASDAQ's going to follow. I'm really curious to see what the Dow Jones does on the 20. I'm not necessarily saying it's the exact same thing S&P 500 will, but hey, maybe it's a little indicative. But hey, just look at this thing. It's used the 20 just as well, but we've already seen a slip once to the 50, right? So again, NASDAQ does matter the most. NASDAQ is still over the lines while those other ones are actually below and a lot lower, right? But keep the indices in mind, right? I'm by no means saying anything bad. Maybe the ocean's just not as super calm. Maybe it's just getting a little choppy, right? Don't get scared, but don't do something silly. Don't make a crazy U-turn and maybe capsize, right? You get what I'm saying. So, I think that's a good place for the opening thoughts. Before we do go any further, though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, real really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so thankful for it, all right? So lovely candle, and I say this all the time, all right? When you can find a beautiful channel, when I just see nothing but red, green, green, red, green, green, red, green, green, oh my gosh, right? And just a lot of very fast up and down, and then literally 2 full years of absolutely no life in that channel, all of a sudden you're gonna see red, green, green, right? And that's really what came today. Very much pushed by the volume. I mean, I said it. This is a monster number. There are stocks that will never trade 200 million shares in full months of trading. You know what I mean? So to get this much volume, to get this much attention, to get this much love on a single daily candle, it's huge. Let alone the fact that we've actually been up here, what? When was this one? The 25th? Barely 2 weeks ago, right? So amazing things are happening here. The one thing I need to stress is, look, I've been extremely bullish on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ went from, is it going to lose the 20 moving average, to, you know what, I believe, to, you know what, we're going to go, right? And that entire time, the entire ocean was just flat and every tech stock was going wild. This is my first moment of concern. Okay, I started the video with it by saying, I ended the opening thoughts by saying, look, I sincerely hope we don't lose the 8 moving average. That really is the goal. 19.6 has been, continues to be the number. If we lose that, we're going to come all the way down here. That little green is going to be a red. It's going to bring us down. And hey, we've done it before. We've done it before, right? And like I said, Dow Jones, DJ30, not 20, Dow Jones Industrial, is already there. That green that was really doing well is a red that now just quickly came down, right? We're at that 20, that NASDAQ isn't, right? So because, and listen, I'm still bullish on NASDAQ, believe me. We're still over the golden line, right? I'm very bullish, but I gotta respect the NASDAQ a little bit more than I would say I have the last 3 weeks. And you know I respected it, but I was ignoring a lot of rules I normally wouldn't. This is the moment where I gotta respect the rules. This is the moment I don't like this 90 RSI. I love the divergence. I see a real nice green over red. I actually still see a little baby divergence. I know I see volume just growing and going. I'm scared of that. I think we might be coming back down to 540 if I had to guess. Now, that said, if this bad boy continues, the bad girl for the ladies out there, right? I would say $8 is the next number. I'm basically clicking at 806. It's this big candle right here on January, February, March, April, on May of 2022. That's how far back I got to go for that line, right? But $8 up, 570 down. That's basically my give or take here for the two sides of the coin. I would be a little afraid that this volume won't hold. We've seen it before, right? Beautiful pop. All of a sudden it dropped, right? The cool thing was, even though the volume went from up here to all the way down here, we actually basically just went flat, if not arguably a little bit higher, right? Like, so in some ways this knows how to handle itself when it doesn't sustain the volume. I think I at least have to assume we're probably going to drop about 50%. I think we're probably going to come down to 100 million shares. It would be a little scarier if we came down closer to 50 million shares. I'll say that. So I'd say the lowest I'm willing to accept is probably here. Let's just call it 115. Where's my calculator? There it is. If I'm looking for 115 million shares in a 7-hour day, we want to be around 16 million shares per hour. If we are under 30 million shares by that second hour, there's things to be worried about, that's for sure. Because even this number is basically less than half of what we did today. And you know that's generally not good. I'm here wanting things to be at least, what, 80% of yesterday, if not better, right? So I would even say 200 million is probably the better number, but hey, I'm willing to do that 115-ish that we just talked about, right? So Rigetti, look, I actually think 545 is more likely. Truth be told, this thing is crazy bullish, even if it falls all the way to 420. The problem is a fall from 640 to 420. That's a really, really bad 33% fall right there, right? But yeah, I mean, we're substantially above the 8. We're substantially above all the moving averages. We're crushing it on the weekly. Look, this weekly RSI is also very high at 96, right? So I think, like I said, I gotta respect things that I was more comfortable ignoring when the Nasdaq was just pushing and pushing and pushing. All right, so big profits have come. If you haven't banked them, I'm never here to tell you what to do with your money. I'm not here to say buy, sell, hold. Um, I'd consider some profit banking right here on Rigetti, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into the second set here. So QMCO and QSI. So look, both of them are definitely new to the YouTube videos, but I was talking about QMCO yesterday. Oh, look at that. I don't know who that was back in the day. Oh, when was this? I don't even remember that one. Look, yesterday is what caught my eye. It's a new quantum stock to me. I'd never heard of it. There was a very interesting doji. All of a sudden, we're where we're at. We are where we're at today, right? So, beautiful 30% move was made, and then QSI also came up. Just join the Discord. I love it when new people get a little bit loud. I love it. It's very helpful, right? All of a sudden, we're talking about QSI, and I really was, yeah, as of yesterday. I remember talking about it yesterday. Um, QSI is another one that did very, very well, not just today, but also yesterday. And again, I think these two are a little bit on the newer side, at least to me. Let me know if you've been looking at them, right? But I think these took a little bit of the volume that was going around between that original 4 that we were looking at, right? But yeah, QMCO, I'll start with this one like I was planning to. I really, really liked what I saw here yesterday. You know, I always respect a doji. And I'm generally here assuming the worst on a doji than assuming the best, right? Like I've been burned more times than I hit, but you know, I was really liking the quantum sector. I thought that a couple of the other RSIs were really high. This one seemed nice and fresh yesterday, right? When you look at the numbers over there, RSI was sub 70. It was at a 68. MACD was that positive. MACD looked like it wanted to go down and then actually maybe even recover. Obviously did beautifully today, right? But and then the volume. Yes, I'm going to kind of get rid of those big ones. It was doing very nicely over the last couple days, right? So that was a real interesting doji candle to me. Obviously, I like it when it opens down here and closes up here as opposed to what happened, right? This actually opens at 17 and closes down here at 15-ish. Again, end of the day, all the dojis, I call them the same doji. I'm not here to memorize the different names and stuff, but I thought it was an interesting doji. Overall, the lines, decent setup. Lo and behold, today came, right? So I like that we're over 50% candle, and I actually would say we're over it by a lot. That said, look, this is only the first recovery candle, okay? Maybe we'll come back down to 18-ish. Truth be told, I really like the RSI. I think this is a nice divergence of the MACD, and that's been so consistent. There's actually a decent chance maybe tomorrow can go a little bigger, okay? So as I zoom out too, I mean, there's some interesting things happening just with the chart. I'm going to draw a line right there. That's basically what we're under right now, right? I was clicking on this big candle right here all the way back in March of 2023. You can see it's kind of the bottom of that, top of that, bottom of that, almost the bottom of that. I think that's basically a good line and roughly speaking where we're at right now, right? After that, I mean, really, it's here. That's the next line, 28. You can see that's where some of those wicks were right there. After that is probably, no, it's too high. Here. There. I went 50% candle roughly of this June 22nd day. That's what I was really going for right there. Um, those are the lines up. Like I said, there's a good chance that this thing can come down to set to basically 18 bucks if it fails. I would be very scared under that 17, or sorry, under that 18, because from there it might be a fast fall. What is that, 14ish, 15.25, and then from there it can actually go as low as 10 right there. So a real scary potential, but again, hopefully we never go below 15. Ideally we never go anywhere below 18 if we can get over this 2075 line. I actually think it might be a real fast fly to 28. Maybe it's worth. No, I'm okay. Look, it's a dollar difference, okay? The close of this green candle was 21.77. My line's at 20.70, basically, right? 74. Um, Different risk, different reward tolerances, right? Even going from 21 to 28 is still a really nice, roughly speaking, 30% move, right? Roughly every $2 is 10%. You're adding more than six right there, right? So, depending on the risk tolerance, but like I said, there's some. Did I do the math right there, right? Yeah, no, I did. Good, 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 good. I did. Yeah, QMCO. I think that's a good one here. Did I look at the weekly? Let's look at the weekly really quickly. Look, this thing hasn't really proven itself as fantastically as I'd like to, but this is trying to get over the 100 moving average. The 200 is all the way up there. RSI is a little on the high side, but hey, we've seen the sector pushing 90 plus on the weekly, right? So I think it's all about the 100 moving average. How low is this? 13. I can see 13 hitting, right? So maybe worth a little caution if that 18 does slip right there. The other one on this, like I said, is newer on the videos, but we've been talking about on the Discord a bit. Look at this thing, right? It is very difficult to break this line, all right? These three, the 50, the 100, and 200, these are probably the most textbook moving averages. There are a bunch of different ones up here. I've seen different ones in between, but like those three right there. Getting over the 200 is hard, and good candle can't confirm. Trying, trying, trying. I think this is us taking off and going, right? That's still a healthy 74 RSI. It is not that 80 number that I normally worry about. The thing really is volume here, right? It's not bad. We're definitely over the 50 day the last couple days, right? But I don't know what this day was. I don't know if there's any real news here, but this thing, I don't think it needs to get over the 100 million number necessarily, but we need some bigger volume here. And I feel like weird saying bigger volume, even though today was 30 million when we're used to 10 million, right? That's actually 3x the average and a pretty good number. But um, yeah, I think end of the day, when there's a lot of moving averages, you know you need that good belief that you're gonna escape, right? And I do think that this one's starting to do it. Um, Really, the next line is probably here. Yeah, I like this. Looks like it's the top of that. I took it for the top bottom of that, it's bottom of that, almost the half of that, kind of the top of that. 318 I think is a very realistic next number. I wouldn't draw the line, but I could see 284 being a little bit of a difficulty. Really, as long as we can hold, I'd even say as low as $2. I think as long as we're over 201, I'm okay with it. Truth be told, I'd love to never go below 210, but I like QSI. I think there are some interesting things happening here. And hey, look, it's seen the big pop before. It knows how to be at this like 20 million, 40 million number. I think just a little bit over 40 million shares would be really, really big for this one right here. Where are we on the weekly? Oh man, yeah, look at that. This is the first attempt over that 100 moving average actually ever, right? So we generally want more than a single candle, but this is a really nice candle right here. Really nice indicators as well. So break the 100, there's a good chance you're going to go to the 200, which is all the way up there, right? So next week will probably be more important than this week for QSI. FOMC is next week, so just kind of please keep that in mind, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. So these are the three that I've been talking about fairly regularly, right? And, I thought I actually expected more out of QUBT. I really did. Hey, end of the day, we're still holding the 8 moving average. Like I said, I think there wasn't enough volume to go around on this thing, all right? We really want to break this 803 line. That's basically what we're hunting for. Um, and end of the day, I mean, as long as we can hold, I'll say this is our line. 666. So losing a dollar, I don't know what 1/7 is at the top of my head. That's an odd division right there. Losing a dollar is more than 10% right there though, right? Because every 30, it's about 15%. Every 70 cents and then another 30 cents give or take right there behind it, right? So um it can go as low as 660, give or take. Hopefully it doesn't go any lower than that. If we can break 803, that's going to bring some nice stuff right there, right? Because this channel hasn't actually even been touched since 2021. We saw what the RGTI channel did, which we haven't touched since 2022, right? Basically filled it in a single move, right? QUBT, this channel's even older, you know what I mean? So yeah, if we can break that 8, it's a big thing. The clear thing to see is it's a hard line, right? It is a hard line. RGTI, did you hit it a couple times? Nah, you never hit it. You just went. This line, the one that broke to go, yeah, you just went, right? So yeah, let's see if the volume comes and can do it. You're not going to break that big line right there with just barely hitting the average volume. You know what I mean? But MACD's still positive. Listen, I'm seeing a little bit of an uglier curve than I'd like, but I think the 75 RSI hopefully will be good enough to hold. And look, 8 moving average, we've bounced on it several times already, right? So as long as we can hold the line, that's really all it needs to do. So what's the weekly look like here? Interesting. Real interesting, because that's the get over. I would for sure call that confirmation. I'm a little surprised to see what looks like 3 weeks of straight dojis right there. When was the last time we were over that on the weekly? That's the last real candle. Yeah, back in 2021 as well here. It's a difficult line. I mean, I guess now I'm also looking up here, right? RSI is a crazy number. RSI is 95. We got to it at a 97 and it lived at 97, got all the way to a 98 on last week. You know what I mean? So, no, I think healthy cool down makes sense, right? The problem is the 8 moving average is actually really low from where we're at, and this is the only true good candle. So 1620 is what the weekly says. I think 1660 is what the daily says. So hey, maybe 1640, kind of using in between those two, is where this thing might go to. So again, I said it in the beginning, I'm gonna flash it one more time in this chapter. NASDAQ was incredibly strong with an incredibly low and very healthy, especially on the takeoff RSI number. Okay, we're now seeing a little bit of a curve. We're seeing a little bit of a scary signal from the S&P 500, from the Dow Jones. I care about NASDAQ more for sure. I do. But I gotta add just a little bit more caution and a little bit more respect to the rules I normally don't, and I kind of haven't the last couple weeks. Okay, so let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I didn't need to say that right there because these three are chaptered together. That's a weird doji right there. It is, but this one has been the iron horse. It's been the consistent, the stable one, right? We've actually never touched the 20 moving average on this run. Okay, so to me, this is still a very strong line right there. This is the first one that actually has red over green signaling on both the MACD and the RSI. None of the other tickers so far have done that, right? So that's a little concerning, especially since this one is the workhorse, right? We've seen it actually look like this for a bit on the RSI now, right? You can see that the red line's actually been over for a bit. It's the first kind of happening on the MACD. And again, just things to point out at the time that the NASDAQ is cooling. As long as we're over 3113 though, I think there's really good things. The concern would be if we lose that line, that green could be a kind of scary red down, right? So FOMC is next week. Sometimes that brings a little bit more of a sell-off, but truth be told, this is an unused line in a 3x move. That's a pretty strong and fresh line right there, and hopefully it does the job, on top of the fact that that should now be a good strong golden line support right there, right, instead of the difficult golden line resistance that it was when we first drew it, right? So weekly, again, we're still away from the 8 moving average. We've gone up from it, we've come back down to it. We've gone up from it, we might come back down to it and go. I don't know the math here, right? But yeah, I think, look, as long as we can hold the moving averages, there's nothing too worrisome. I think this first signaling is interesting though, all right? And then the last one in the OG list is QBTS. It's interesting to me to see the volume hit, but not the candle, not the percent. And I don't really know why, I'll be honest with you. You know, not everything that TA does is as consistent as I'd love it to be. If it was, I'd be living on the hills or in a private island, you know what I mean? So nothing's guaranteed and all that. But yeah, the things were here for it to do better. They were, you know, MACD was good, RSI was at least there, volume was very, very nice. The one thing I think to note, look, this I think reacted a little bit more to the NASDAQ drop. You can see they both really turn around that 145 Eastern. QBTS. 15-minute, what are you? This one's 2 o'clock, right? So just after, and on the 15-minute candle after, it starts to go down, right? So maybe this was more NASDAQ driven, because really before that it was trying to, and it was over the moving averages with actually a pretty decent MACD and early volume and this and that I normally say on this time frame, right? So interesting to see what happened. Like I said, this volume was there and all that sort of stuff, but kind of the same thoughts, right? As long as we're over the moving averages, it's all good. This one has done a pretty good job of going away from it, going horizontally to it, going away from it. Maybe we can stay horizontal right here a bit. That would be lovely. Wait for the line to catch up and then take off on it, right? But so far, this has proven itself well with the moving averages, and until we lose more, I can't really worry too much. But hey, maybe there's a reason to consider a couple more banking moments than otherwise, or for some, maybe the average up moment, right? So this and that, there's different ways to play the dip, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.